With Resident Evil 9 Requiem coming out this week, let's talk about upcoming Resident Evil toys.
Resident Evil.
The upcoming game, Requiem, has a lot of excitement and anticipation built around. Probably be the top game released this year. It is the top Steam Weekly top sellers list. There's over 5 million copies on the wish list. It comes out this week. This is the 30th anniversary of the Resident Evil franchise. At my local GameStop, several GameStops that I went to, in fact, the PS5 controller holder of Raccoon City sold out immediately. Yeah, this is going to be a great game. Now, of course, I am a huge Resident Evil fan. I have played all the games multiple times, multiple run-throughs. I've read all the books by S.D. Perry. I wonder why she stopped writing after 3. I mean, she did do Code Veronica and 0, but she never did 4, 5, or 6. Come on, S.D. Perry. Come out of retirement. Write those books. We need them. And I've even had lots of the action figures throughout the years. Unfortunately, in 2017, when wildfires ravaged through Gatlinburg, Tennessee, I did lose my house and everything I owned, so I lost my entire collection of figures that I had, ranging from the Toy Biz figures, NECA, a couple of the Palisades figures. I had a lot. I had the Resident Evil Archives book. I am lucky and fortunate. I've started to rebuild my collection, of course, because I'm such a fan and a little psychotic from time to time. But yeah, I even have a copy of the cult classic, fan favorite, fan film Resident Evil movie entitled Reluctant Evil. Oh yeah, I am a Resident Evil fan. But you're not here to learn about my history. You're here to learn about toys and what's been and what's coming out. Let's go. The toy line started in 1998 through 1999 with a Toy Biz license. They had 3 series, mostly 2 figure sets from RE1 and RE2. They had Jill Valentine, Forrest Sprayer Zombie, Labcoat Zombie, Hunter, Maggot Zombie, Jill with Spider, Tyrant, Chimera with Hunter, William Birkin. Yeah, the figures all had a play feature, a gimmick. There was a switch on the back that would make Jill's arm raise her weapon. Most weapons had like a spring-loaded mechanism. They were a fun toy line. They actually had some playability and some play factors. What I had in that list, I had Jill, I had Forrest, I had the zombies, I had the Chimera, I had the Hunter, I had William Birkin, I had the Tyrant. Oh, the Tyrant. I've managed to replace him in my collection. But Toy Biz started it all with the first Resident Evil toys that we were allowed to have. Were they the best? No. But were they fun? Yeah. And good luck finding them today. They're almost impossible to find in good working condition, and man, the aftermarket price on those, it gets a bit ridiculous. That, of course, brings us to Palisades Toys. They purchased the license from Capcom in 1999, and unfortunately went out of business in 2006. They concentrated on RE1, RE2, RE3, and Code Veronica. The first products were vinyl statues of Jill and Nemesis, and that came out in early 2000. They had 3 series. Series 1 had Leon, a soldier zombie, Nosferatu, and the Nemesis, which I did have that one. Series 2 had Mr. X, a zombie cop with liquor, Claire Redfield, and Alexia. Series 3 had Chris Redfield, Wesker with Hunter, yes, I had that set, Tyrant, and Birkin G4. I enjoyed those. It was a much improved showing for the toy line when Palisade took over. They were more articulated, more collector-friendly, more based off of the games, didn't have play features. Palisades were really good. What we also have is Moby Dick toys. I don't have much on them. I found a couple of pictures. I didn't have any from the Moby Dick line, but they had like a build-your-own Tyrant version 4, and each figure and piece came with a build-a-piece. Good luck finding that on the aftermarket. Those are so psychotically expensive, it's not even funny. Same thing with most of the Palisade toys. They are almost impossible to find online, and you will be paying out the yin-yang for them. But all in all, Palisade and Moby Dick, much improved line from what we had with Toy Biz. Now there are some other videos on YouTube here that go into great detail on Toy Biz toys, Palisade toys, and Moby Dick toys. I'll try to leave a link in the description if you want to find out a better history than what I'm babbling at you about. But that brings us up to NECA Toys. NECA Toys had the license for Resident Evil for a little while. I remember actually seeing them in the store, in a fun little store called Red Rocket that was across from the place that I worked at the time. It was early 2000s, mid 2000s that I was there, and man, at that time they were like 25 to 30 bucks a figure there. Too rich for my blood at that time. I have managed to get a few, but that line ranged from RE1 all the way to RE5, and they had a lot of figures. The problem with those figures? Well, they were mostly partially articulated, more like slightly movable statues than action figures. Some were nicely articulated, some had unmovable knees. They were mostly just for display. Did they look good? Oh, they looked fantastic. But as an action figure, not very good. And yet again, finding some of those online on the secondary market, unless you get the two that you can find on AliExpress, you're going to be paying $250 to $700 for some of those figures. It is ridiculous that no one has picked up the license. The aftermarket value of these figures is skyrocketing because there is a demand for Resident Evil toys. A demand, I tell you! Now that brings us to Patriot Studios, our first third-party, non-licensed figure dealer. Now these are some good-looking figures. They've got some soft goods and stuff. Patriot Studios is a third-party 6-inch scale, 1/12 scale action figures. They've got 10 figures mostly, maybe a little bit more by now. They focused mostly on RE4 and Village, but they did have Leon as a cop from Raccoon City. They had funny names because they weren't officially licensed. For instance, Leon was entitled Steelback Beast. The Nemesis and Liquor figure that came out, that were not quite Nemesis, not quite the Liquor, were called BOW Evolvers. The figures were really good, way overpriced, but it's a third party, and if you want Resident Evil figures, that's kind of what you had to go with, because that's all that we had coming out, because no one was willing to pick up the license and make reasonably priced figures. Patriot Studios, yes, I do have the BOW Evolver figure, and it's a beautiful figure. Plastic feels a little tight, it could be brittle, so there could be some qualms, but all in all, that's all we have right now. Now, speaking of third party, I've found some very bizarre statues featuring Chris Redfield. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how to describe these, so take a look. It's someone's commissioned fetish art, probably. Enjoy. So as of right now, the collecting community and Resident Evil fans go to customizers to find bits and pieces to make their own figures. Myself, I'm a customizer. I've been making my own set of Resident Evil figures because there's nothing available on the market. Or is there? Which brings us to this question. Who currently has the Capcom license? We know that Jada has it since they're doing the Street Fighter 2 figures, and I wouldn't be opposed to seeing Jada RE2 figures. What they could do is make them kind of cartoony like the original Toy Biz figures. That would be fine because they already have that kind of cartoony aesthetic with their Street Fighter 2 line. So I would not be opposed to Jada making some 6-inch RE2 figures. But the main reason you're here is what it says in the thumbnail. That's right, which of course brings us to McFarlane Toys. As you know, McFarlane Toys lost the license to DC Multiverse, and that's returning to Mattel. Since then, they have picked up some video game licenses, such as Fallout and Helldivers. So it's not a stretch of the imagination that Todd McFarlane could pick up the RE, the Resident Evil toy line. The man loves horror, spooky things, and of course is an amazing artist. I would love to see his take on Resident Evil figures. So Todd, that's right, I'm calling you out. Come on, Todd, pick up the RE license. We need it. We need you, of all people, to get RE figures out to the shelves. Come on, Todd. If you know Todd McFarlane personally, show him this video. Tell him we want Todd McFarlane's spooky Resident Evil figures. I've already figured it out for you, Todd. You love your reprints, your repaints. You've got your different series. You've got your platinum editions. You've got your gold labels. You've got your red labels. Here's what you do. You base it on the remakes with the modern versions of the figures. Your reprints, well, they're the versions of the characters from the original games. So you can have two different Nemesis. Nemesis. You can have it from the original RE3, and then you can have it from the remake of RE3. Same with most of the characters, Leon, Ada, and of course, Resident Evil is no stranger to having costume changes in the game. You beat the game, you unlock a new costume. You're like, well, I want to see what Rebecca looks like as a cowgirl. Well, there's a bunch of figures you can make. There are literally hundreds of characters. If you pick up the RE license, Todd, you'll be set for a long time. And myself included, along with so many other Resident Evil fans out there, I'm all in. You start cranking out Resident Evil toys, guess what? I'm picking up each and every one of them. Multiples of the zombies, lickers, hunters. I'm sorry I misled everyone with the thumbnail that says McFarlane Toys has the license. They don't. But maybe, just maybe, if we hound them, they'll pick it up. Now, of course, there is one company out there that I want to say, stay away from Resident Evil license. Stay away. Don't consider it. Don't pick it up. That company, of course, is Super 7. I don't want Ultimates. I don't want reaction figures. Stay away from Resident Evil, Super 7. Stay away. I know if you click this video, you're like me, and you want new Resident Evil toys. Not overpriced third-party things, officially licensed, reasonably priced action figures and collectibles. Hey, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share this video, hit the hype button if you enjoyed it. And hey, if you know Todd McFarlane personally, pass this video on to him. Hey, thanks for watching. I'm going to disappear for a few days because RE9 Requiem's coming out, and I'm going to be playing it a lot.